So when I was in second grade in Toronto, there was a solar eclipse, and we were told emphatically that you could not look at it, that you would go blind if you looked at it, but that our teacher had another solution in order for us to see the solar eclipse. And it was to create this apparatus that we could look in, and the reflection of the eclipse would be seen in these shoebox contraptions. And I remember being so scared that I would go blind if I by accidentally looked at the eclipse that day. And then we spent hours outside following it, looking at the eclipse and watching it happen through our boxes. And it was so much fun and such a great hands-on activity, and I will never forget that day in science class.
So my favorite elementary school science activity was the Monarch Butterfly experience of 4th grade. And we were all given a Monarch Butterfly caterpillar, and they formed their chrysalis and then hatched, and we were supposed to do some sort of writing work around our Monarch Butterfly. So I of course named him Simon, and he was a Brit long before all of the musical Simon Cowell situation. He was British, and I wrote a story in the first person about his experience emerging from the chrysalis. And it had all sorts of noises in the beginning, and was very expressive, and then I performed it in front of my 4th grade class.
When I was in elementary school in DeKalb County, Georgia, we took field trips to the most amazing place on earth, also known as Fernbank Science Center. And it was better than Disney World, because at Fernbank you could learn anything and everything. You wanted to learn about meteorology? They have a room full of Doppler radar screens. You want to learn about prehistoric animals? I distinctly remember a taxidermied saber-toothed tiger just in the hallway. Random, totally, but also amazing. But the best thing about Fernbank was definitely the planetarium. As far as a little Miss Merchant was concerned, it was the biggest room ever built, with the most amazing views of every single star in the sky. With one turn, you would be in the southern hemisphere in the middle of winter, even though it was Georgia in October. And you could see every star, and every single one of them came with a story. Orion the Hunter, Cassiopeia the Queen, the Big Dipper, the Little Dipper, the North Star. Every single star was up there, and being little, you're like in these huge seats, and you're like a tiny little person looking up, and there were all of the stars, and a huge booming voice telling you about how amazing they all were, and how they were made, and how people have thought about them over the centuries. And so if you lived in North last year, you might remember me running out onto the quad with my phone and my star tracking app and looking up into the sky and trying to identify different stars. It all started at Fernbank Science Center with every single one of those stargazing field trips. It was amazing.
Outside of my 6th grade classroom, we had a Roadkill Map, and the Roadkill Map was supposed to track wildlife movements, and so whenever anybody in my class saw any roadkill, we had to first identify what animal it used to be, and then we would come in and mark it on this map of our county. So with a specific colored pin that correlated to the type of animal. So green might have been a deer, and red might have been a raccoon, or a porcupine, or a squirrel, or a frog, etc. So we would come in and map our roadkill, and after 1 month we could track sort of how the wildlife movements worked in our county. And it was gross and cool.
Start telling it?
Yeah.
Okay. So one story is from when I can't remember what grade it was, but I was in elementary school, and we were learning about the weather, and we had our local meteorologist come and talk to us, and I remember just sitting in the front, because he was also kind of dreamy, and I remember sitting in the front and being like, oh my gosh, this is so great, because we have a celebrity here, and I was just so excited. And then then after that, I went home and I was like really excited. My mom made me a chart that I could keep track of the weather, and so I became like the house like weather girl for a while, at least a month, if not more. And okay, and then the second story was it was when our class planned a field trip to go out to this little like pond like down the back from our school, and we had kept putting it off for rain, and so it was kind of like the anticipation. I was like so excited, like okay, like we keep putting it off, and I'm so excited to do this because we're gonna be outside and we're gonna be learning all this fun stuff. And we went out because we were going to find frogs and insects and all of these things. And I found the first frog, and it was probably top 10 best moments of my life. And I came back, and the frog was our class pet, and I named it William, and I was the only one who could call it Willie because I knew the frog because I had found it. So it was pretty great. I was really excited.